Hello everyone, my name is Luke Webb, and today I'm here at Gilbert Christian speaking to a couple of students in my fourth hour. And I'd like to say thank you to you guys for coming, and I hope that you guys enjoy this presentation. To you all at home from my CCU class, I've enjoyed listening to your guys' speeches throughout this year, and I hope that this last speech will be very impactful and I can maybe persuade you on something. Alright, right now we're on slide 1 for you guys here. Alright, today we are going to be talking about the topic of what is the hardest sport. I would like to persuade you that baseball is the hardest sport to play. Today's general goal is to persuade the audience, you guys, to know that baseball is the hardest sport. A very specific goal is to portray that baseball is the hardest sport when compared to all of the others. Alright, many of my speeches this year have been about baseball. I'm sure that you guys have noticed that, but that is because I love baseball and I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about what I say, I'm very passionate about the topics that I'm going to be bringing up. Today might be the one that I'm most passionate about. One thing about what the hardest sport is, there's sports like football and basketball, soccer, volleyball, tennis, golf, all of those will come to mind. But like I've said before, I think that baseball is the hardest sport. Alright, this question is subjective. There's no definitive answer that you can give to the question of what is the hardest sport. So just so you guys have that in the back of your head, the things that I'm saying aren't like, this is true, you have to believe this. It's just what I believe, and I'm trying to persuade you to that point. The first point that I would like to go over is that the mental toll that goes on throughout baseball is unmatched between all other sports. In baseball, you can go from one of the lowest points to having to be in the biggest situation, making one of the biggest plays of your whole entire life. Like I've said in a couple of my other speeches, the greatest baseball players of all time, their batting average for their career will be 300, meaning that 7 out of 10 times they will get out. I got that from Bankston 2019. Like I said earlier, when playing baseball, the amounts of ups and downs that you will endure are different from all other sports. In a matter of a couple minutes, you will come from striking out in an opportunity where you could have scored plenty of runs to being on the mound pitching where you need to strike the other person out. You need to be able to flip that switch in your mind so quick and be very unselfish. You need to have a team-first mentality. In a sport like football, it is very common that you're going to be doing the same thing almost every single play. While I play football, I play middle linebacker on defense, and I pretty much do the same thing every play. I will make my reads, I will adjust to what the offense is giving us, and it's not like I change my jobs or my tasks very regularly. While in baseball, like I've said, you can be doing plenty of different things in a matter of 5 minutes. Alright, the second point that I would like to address is that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in all of sports. Herrick 2020 said this: having to hit a round ball with a round bat is extremely difficult. In order to square up the baseball perfectly, you have to hit the middle of the ball with the middle of the bat. And yes, you're not going to square up the baseball perfectly every time, which makes it the hardest thing to do in all of sports, I believe. You have to think about when you're at the plate, the pitcher is 60 feet away, 20 yards away, and you have approximately 2 seconds to determine whether you want to swing or not, where you're going to hit it, what pitch is going to be. So many decisions need to be made in your brain about what you are going to be doing for that swing, which makes me think that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in all sports. Alright, my final point is that the fear that you will have to overcome is unlike all other sports. And this comes from Tim Kirkjian. He is an ESPN reporter who has been a part of ESPN for 20 or so years, and I believe that he is very reliable when it comes to talking about baseball. When you're on a baseball field, you are putting yourself at risk. That's a direct quote from Tim Kirkjian. The baseball can be hit up to 125 miles an hour, and you are standing out there with little to no support. Asking any third baseman how they feel with a giant player at the plate and then having to stand 90 feet away from him, you'll probably hear them say, "I'm pretty scared. I'm not really feeling too good about this." Hunter, who's in the crowd right now, is a pitcher in baseball, and I'm sure that he's been very scared of many times when he's pitching and there's a big guy at the plate who he knows might be able to hit the baseball very hard with him because of the little to no support. Can you affirm that, Hunter?
Yes, I can. It is very difficult sometimes, like when there are big opponents, knowing how much damage they could do to the baseball game itself, but also to your physical, like to you physically, how he could hit a baseball back at you and tear you up, like you see Archie Bradley on the Diamondbacks, who a while back got absolutely demolished by a pitch, by a hit that he just took right to the face, and he was out for many weeks with many face injuries, and it took a long time for him to get back into his routine and actually playing.
And that just adds to the mental toll that baseball can put on you. You have to be standing on the pitcher's mound, trying to attempt to get the other batter out while thinking about all the different things that can happen in your brain. Thinking about how hard you could get hit, how long you could be out, what the batter could do, what like the runs that he could score. It's just those 3 points, I think, just solidify baseball as the hardest sport. All right, to conclude, I'd like to go over the main points that I've talked about, which are that the mental battle in baseball is unlike any other sport. You're going to go from some of the lowest lows to some of the highest highs in a matter of 5 minutes. You need to be able to flip that switch at any point. All right, my second point today was that the simple hardest thing to do in any sport is hitting a baseball, which is one of the most vital things in being a successful baseball player. In order to hit a baseball, like I've said, you have to hit a round ball with a round bat. And if you're a baseball player, you need to be pretty good at hitting a baseball. All right, and then my final point was that fighting the fear that you will face in baseball is different than any other sport. All right, I hope that today I have helped persuade you on what the hardest sport is. And I hope that when all of you guys are asked this question on what sport do you think is the hardest, that you'll be able to give them the facts and tell them that baseball is the hardest sport. Thank you guys so much.